You know,
Hey, Dennis, I have a question for you real quick. On your fennel bob, you did not have a price. Is it for sale?
I'm sorry, say that again, Marie.
On your fennel bob,
Uh,
is it for sale?
that's for sale. Hold on a second. $200.
Two?
Two.
All righty. Thank
Did,
you.
did you get all my perspectives?
No.
Well, I guess I'll have to turn them in Thursday.
You're such a funny girl.
Yeah. Thought you'd like that.
I know. Well, that's all right. That's
It's a serious background you got there, Tom. That's a serious background.
You're muted.
My speaker working?
Yeah, I hear you. I
Okay.
don't hear Tom. He's muted. There
Okay,
you go.
you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I found it out on the internet. That's a reflection nebula that exists out there between the constellations Perseus and Taurus. And NASA refers to it as a star nursery. It's an area where stars are formed.
I don't think I've seen that one, but it's a nice shot.
Yeah, its number is NGC 1333 in the NGC catalog.
Let's do it this way. I know nothing about the air, especially what's above it.
It's on my to-do list.
Beth, what's that sitting behind you?
That's my great grandfather's field camera.
Cool.
It's a revolving back auto Graflex from like 1920-ish.
Ooh, that's high end.
The curtain's broken.
Well,
So
it was high end back in its day.
yeah, 100 years ago.
That's just like yesterday. Oh, Jim knows that.
Yeah, Jim, you didn't tell me you were going to Sanatone.
Margie, I know you said something to me, but I could not hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You didn't tell me you were going to Sanatone.
Did I forget to tell you?
Yeah, I would have had you pick up either a peanut patty or sweet potato candy. Y'all don't have that stuff up here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've been to Sanatone to the boardwalk. I don't know how many times.
It's a nice place to visit.
It is. It really is.
Do you have a record of who submitted what to the Nature Center? I went to pick up my photo and my name is there, but there's no photo attached to it. And none of the ones that I saw look like mine.
Are you talking about the tree photos, Dennis?
Yeah,
So you went there, but your photo wasn't there, you're saying?
well, you know, she wrapped the photos in paper and attached a name to a photo. But she had my name, but no photo. And I looked through the stack and I didn't see what I thought was mine. So, but I don't know what I sent. So just curious if you have a record of it.
Well, I could figure that out for you. After the meeting, I'll look it up and send it to you.
Thanks.
There's a chance, Joanna admitted to me when I went to pick up mine that there were some circumstances where they weren't sure they identified the print with the photographer. So it's conceivable that someone took yours home with them. I don't know.
I hope they enjoy it.
Is that the one I hung in my living room?
Dennis, I'm hoping it's that one I like.
Yeah, I'll give you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go claim it pretty soon. There were two
Dennis.
that she didn't know who they were.
Dennis, did you happen to actually look under the paper at the remaining photos to see if
Yes.
yours was mislabeled?
We looked through them all,
Oh, okay.
and based on what I remember I sent, which is risky, I didn't see it.
I'll send it to you.
All right.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
No.
All right, how's everybody doing tonight?
fine, thank you.
Good, good, good. All right, I'm still at work, so I might be interrupted a little bit here and there, but at least for the next hour, and then they'll all be gone and I'll be here by myself. With that being said, anybody talk to Annie? Is she coming tonight?
Yes, she is.
Okay. And let's see, I guess we'll start out with a little bit of new business here. First off, I see two people on here that one person I've never seen before and another one we haven't seen for quite a while. Tom, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Tom was a member a few years back, and he recently sent a check in, I believe, or whatever. He paid and decided to join back up. So welcome back,
Yep.
Tom.
Thank you. Glad to be
And-
back.
All right, and let's see here. On my screen right next to Tom is Marie. I believe I said that right. Marie, would you like to say hi and tell and say anything about yourself or about your photography or anything like that?
Sure, yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm a new member. I found out about you all last year at the Greensburg Art Museum show. I met Angela, who I guess is part of the group, and she told me a lot about what you all do, and I was excited about it and finally got around to joining. I used to do photography like 20 years ago. I took classes at Pittsburgh Filmmakers, and as part of my job, I did some documentary photography for a journal. And then I just didn't do it at all. And so I recently just started to pick it back up, and I have a lot to learn and a lot to remember. So I'm hoping to be active in this group and learn from you all, that kind of stuff.
Welcome.
Well, welcome.
All right, welcome.
Glad you joined.
Thanks.
All right. Annie's popping in here as well. She's trying to join right now, so Annie will be here shortly. Also, Marty, the letters you're sending out, I think, are starting to work because we've received several payments, and one of our former members, Nikki Rose, joined again today or yesterday, and a friend of hers joined as well. So keep up that you and Carl, I believe, are sending those out and just asking people how they're doing and if they'd like to come back to the club. So that's working out good. Thank you.
I
I
think
think,
all of them are sent out.
Okay, good.
That we had email addresses for, or
Right.
contact information. Those are all sent out. I do have a few that didn't have any contact information. And the new people that joined last year, what was their names? Hold on, I have my list. It was a couple, Richard and Janine Straw. I didn't have any information on them.
I'll look and see if I have it at home. I may have it.
Okay.
They joined, I believe, through the class.
Class, right, but I didn't have anything on Airtable for them, and I know that they were coming to different things, so I don't want to lose them.
All right. If not, I might have their email and stuff in my contacts. So I'll take a look.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, anyhow, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it. Doing a good job at that, and that's working out. Okay. Business wise, I really don't have anything specific. There is a photo walk coming up this weekend. I seen Jim sent the email out today. I believe it was Jim because I got a notification that someone signed into the account from a different area, and it said Greensburg. So,
That might have been me.
So thanks for sending that email out. The photo walk this weekend, that's this Sunday, I believe, right?
Right.
Is to Crescent State Prison. So there's information out there. Jim, you want to just highlight any of that or say two words about it?
If you're unsure of whether you want to go, I would suggest you check the link that's in that email that takes you to the site. And you'll see some photos available on there of what's available from a photography standpoint. And as I mentioned in the email, I think if you like abandoned properties, you're really going to enjoy this photo walk. The other thing you can do is just do a Google search on the prison itself. It's Crescent Sanatorium and Prison, and look at the images. And there's a lot of them are exterior shots of some of the buildings. There's over 20 buildings on site, but there's a lot of interior shots, and it looks just as nice as some of the other ex-prison sanitariums we've gone to in previous years. The other thing that's kind of cool is there's no restrictions at all on the photography. And I had exchanged emails with one of the fellows who runs it back several months ago. And he says that if you enter a room and there's a chair somewhere and you think the chair would look really cool somewhere else in the room, go right ahead, move the chair where you want it, take your photo, but then just please put the chair back where you found it.
Oh,
Very cool. I'm very disappointed that I'm not going to be able to make this trip. I've been involved in a 6 month series for something else, and it happens to fall on this Sunday coming in, and I can't miss the last of the 6 months. So I've been doing it all week, all winter, and I got to go. So I'm very jealous of those of you that are going. And speaking of that, how many of you are planning on going? I see 1, 2, 3. See a couple hands. Jim, are you going?
I am, yep.
Okay, Jim. All
And I
right,
got
looks like several
emails,
people are going.
today from
Looks like the
Rob and
usual
Alan.
suspects.
Oh, there, Alan's there, yeah. Rob's going
Yep.
also. Oh, Rob's
Alan,
You have
Alan,
to
Rob.
buy time, you have to buy tickets. And you buy 3 hours, 6 hours, or 9 hours?
Well,
Mhm.
that's the option, Dennis. My suggestion is to do the 3 hour, but if you want to do the 6
No,
to
that's too
9, go
long.
right ahead.
3's enough. Too old.
All right. All right. Well, like I said, I'm jealous. I'm very unhappy that it happened to fall on the same weekend and I can't go. But
me too.
again, it's one of them things that I've been doing it 6 months. I can't stop now for the last month. But anyhow,
Hey, Brian, some of us might take photos and we'll share them with you. How's that?
that would be really cool. You know, we have this cool website. It's called Reddit. You know, we can post them photos. We can take a look at them.
All right.
So feel free to jump in there and post them up. That way I can look at them and then make myself feel even worse to not be able to go. Any updates on shows or anything like that?
I have a refreshment list on Reddit. If you would please sign up, if you could bring something, that would be wonderful. I have a couple people, Linda and
Suzanne.
Suzanne, thank you. I wrote down what she was bringing, but not her name. They've both signed up, so if you could sign up, that would be great. The opening is March 31st, 6 to 8 p.m. And we have 51 photos so far. So I'm excited. So
Marty, I am going to participate. I've been busy at work all day and I didn't have a chance to send you my prospectus, but I will get it to you either later tonight or tomorrow. I promise. I know today's the deadline, but I'm the president. I can make a decision.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So far, I have 14 people, members that submitted. So Brian and Annie and Margie, I know I'm looking for yours. DL, that would be wonderful.
I know.
I
Tom,
can hear you.
Why,
Tom and
why
Marie,
is it,
you still have time yet?
yeah, why is it always always Annie, Brian, and
Margie?
Margie that you're waiting for at the end of the thing? And usually Beth, she's laughing at me, but usually Beth's in after too.
Beth got
Ask her when she got mine.
Yes, I did today.
Today, okay. All right, so
Sorry,
yeah,
I
I
fell
will.
asleep this afternoon after I talked to you, Marty.
That's okay, I understand.
All right. Okay, so everything's going smoothly then with that? You're doing okay?
Yes.
All good to go. All right, good. Any other updates or anything like that we need to, anybody want to bring anything up or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
The Phipps Spring Flower Show starts this weekend.
I did get an email on that, so that's
Yeah,
always a
for
good one. I
4
love
weeks.
the tulips. And as we discussed, I have to go down more than 3 times this year to pay for my membership that I keep
Yeah.
paying for and don't use.
You
So,
and I are gonna go down, remember?
yep. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We're gonna go down for the spring show.
Okay,
Uh,
talk
all
about
right. Talk about is Thursday, I believe, right?
Thursday,
This Thursday.
7
So
o'clock.
Tom and I'm
Marie.
horrible. Marie. Sorry, it will take me 3 years to learn your name. I apologize. Tom and Marie. There's another kind of it's not really a meeting, but it's kind of just a get together. We do it at IHOP in Greensburg it's this Thursday for this month. And it's just kind of a little social gathering. We get together, eat a little bit. We talk a little bit about photography. We talk about, I don't know, everything else, motorcycle ride and whatever. We talk about all kind of stuff. But some people bring some prints in so that we can take a look at prints. So you're encouraged to do that if you want to stop in and check that out. That'll be this Thursday at 7 o'clock at the IHOP there in Greensburg next to Barnes and Noble, right on Route
30.
30. Yeah, right on Route 30. There was a chat popped up and it distracted me. But anyhow, that's a cool kind of get together. It's really a nice way to get to meet people, and it's not a meeting. It's not a formal thing, but some people will bring some prints or they'll come and ask questions about their camera, that kind of stuff, and eat a little bit or bring really cool cameras. DL brought some really cool stuff last time I was there. He brought some pretty cool things down that we had to research and figure out what they were and how old they were and that kind of stuff, which was pretty cool. So you're welcome to join at that on Thursday evening if you have some time.
Sounds fun. I'll be there.
Starts
All right.
at 7.
Starts at 7. Yeah. Margie usually runs that and takes care of that and make sure Marty, I don't know who's running it this month. But yeah, there'll be several people there. I'm going to trying to think. I think I can get away this week. So I might try to run down there Thursday night this week. So we'll see.
Another good thing to do is if you have a piece of camera equipment or accessory that you really like, bring it and tell us about it because somebody else may be interested in it. I know this Thursday I have a few things that I'm going to bring that I've been using and they're really neat. So hope to see y'all.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll bring my Fuji stereo camera, 3D camera.
Oh, great.
Thought you guys
Very
might like
cool.
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Yeah, Tom, you told me about that. I'd like to see that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll bring that. And I might be able to bring a camera that I was given by a guy where I used to work. I call it the world's smallest camera. You'll laugh when you see it, but it must have been an actual working camera. I mean, you open it up and you can see where the film went in, but I honestly don't know where you could buy it.
Was it a Minox?
Oh, it's a tiny little thing, maybe like an inch wide.
Wow.
It's
Spy camera.
really tiny. I just thought it was kind of a novelty.
Love to see it. But
I'll
this
be
is
down.
what we have, that talk about this is what we do. So it's really fun. A lot of
Yeah.
fun.
It's a great opportunity to meet everybody. or to meet some people, I should say. Um,
I'll be down after work.
all right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Margie, while you're talking?
Yes.
Was that Margie or Marty?
Margie,
Margie.
the lady
No, but
that's
Marty
smoking a stogie.
kind of mood I'm in today. No, I do not smoke, but that's the kind of mood I'm in today. Marty, you want to say something about station?
Well, yes, that's what I was gonna bring up. Station Saturday
Carl, I haven't forgot about you.
is March 25th at 1 o'clock. It's at my other building on the end of my street. We set up stations, we set up different lighting, we just kind of have fun. It starts at 1 and goes until whenever. Last month we did some lighting with like the crystal ball, and we had little things, we had glittery backgrounds and lights. So we just kind of play. Another time we did water drops and stuff. So we just bring our imaginations and have fun.
All right. So again, Tom and Marie, what Marty is talking about is another kind of thing that she does. She hosted at her place, and it's called Station Saturday. She does it once a month, and gets together, like she said, and tries different things, or does a theme of some sort, like lighting, or the one night she did motion blurs and stuff like that at her place. So again, it's just something extra that we do, that Marty volunteers her time and her place for. So if you're interested in that, there'll be information coming out in the email with location, date and time and all that stuff for it as well.
Right.
So, and you're definitely welcome to come and join in on that too. All right. Anything else, Marty?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to bounce over to Carl because I remember seeing him put his hand up. He said he wanted to say something.
The church has approved our use of the social hall for our photo class.
Okay, good news.
What was that?
For the photo class there, or not the photo class, but the Lightroom and Photoshop class
Oh,
that starts next month. It's been approved to go back to the Zion Church.
good.
So good deal. Appreciate them approving that. And so that class will start next month.
Have they been
Right?
sent
This
a
is
check?
March. Yeah, starts in April.
Have they been sent the check?
No, but I will send it to them now. I have their address. I'll send it to them today or
Okay.
tomorrow.
Perfect.
No big deal. Let me
Just
put
in
that
case.
on. Yeah, I'm gonna put that on my notes and say that to do that. So I got it. Send check. Okay, that's done.
I'm gonna take a nap now.
Okay. All right. So
What are you
Marie,
starting with?
what am I starting with?
Photoshop or
Alright.
Lightroom?
Most likely Lightroom.
Okay.
Actually, no, not most likely. Yeah, I'm going to start with Lightroom. It'll be Lightroom and then
Okay.
Photoshop,
All right.
because I have to learn more Photoshop. It keeps changing on me, so I got to learn a little bit more Photoshop before I start teaching it. But Lightroom's good. We're good in Lightroom. I'll be okay with that. Maybe I can talk Rebecca into coming up and teaching a little Photoshop. She's shaking her head. Nope, ain't happening.
I love you guys, but
All right. Okay. Any other news? I shouldn't say news, but any other business or anything like that we need to take care of, or anything from anybody? Okay. We are. I know our talks tonight are Carl, myself, and Jim are going to talk a little bit about focus stacking, I believe. I didn't get an agreement from Jim. Okay, I see he's shaking his head, so we're okay.
Yes.
Good. Then I learned the right project for this evening.
And Brian, I hope this doesn't startle you, but you're doing the overview, both camera and Photoshop stacking. And then
That
I'm
is
gonna
not a
do
problem.
I'm going to do an overview of the Helicon Focus. And then Carl's going to do an overview of it's called Helicon Focus Remote, I believe it's called.
Okay, very good. Very good. That sounds great. And that is fine with me. So at this point, though, we have added in every month a little bit of critiquing. And since Margie is here, and Margie is the
Tiki, yeah.
she is the critique of everything. She loves critiquing. So
Love
Margie,
it.
I'm going to ask if you want to jump in and do a little bit of critiquing there for about 25 minutes or so, and then 20 minutes or so, and then I think that'll be enough time for us. She's on it already. Screen sharing and everything.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness, I'm right on it.
All right, I got to
All right, there
bounce
was-
off of here just for a second, but go ahead and do your.
Okay, there was some that when I was gone last month, y'all went ahead and critiqued some of these. So tell me if they've been critiqued or not. All right, we have from Carl, we have we have this one. Carl, which one do you want? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Carl's muted.
All right,
That goes.
we'll go to
Either
this.
one.
All right.
I like this one.
We always start with something good. Then, in your opinion, how you might be able to approve it, look for things such as focus, contrast, depth of field, lighting, composition, color. Does it tell a story? Is there something in there that should have been left out? Does it have an emotional appeal? Okay, we're ready.
I like the subject. It does tell a story to me. My kids love bubbles, so looks like she's really concentrating on blowing that bubble. I like the lighting, the backlighting on her. I think I would kind of clean up the little dust spots a little bit because it kind of distracts me a little bit. But
That's rain.
It's rain.
The lenses aren't that bad. That's actually misting rain.
Okay.
That got caught shortly after the snap.
Well, I would still try to clean that up, but
I
anyway.
think. Yes.
Other than that, I think it's a good composition. I like the bubbles. She looks like she's pretty well in focus.
All right.
I did see this black line around her arm. Is that supposed to be there? It looks like it's a really heavy shadow. I'm not real sure what it is.
I think that's her hair.
No, it's on her arm.
Right here. What it is a shadow.
No. On the outside of her forearm, towards the bubbles. See that black line there? That really hard black line.
It just looks like a continuation of the shadow that's behind her arm because you can see it above her hand a little bit too.
Right.
Okay.
Can you locate that for me, Marty? I'm not sure where you mean.
I'm pointing to it, but that's not going to help.
Am I close to it?
No, go to her forearm over by the bubbles. See that last bubble on the bottom? Over to the right.
By her
Her
wrist.
wrist, Marty?
Yeah.
Oh, by her
Yeah,
wrist.
see down the forearm on the outside towards the bubble. See that black line that goes? It almost like outlines your arm.
It is a shadow. It's a shadow of the retaining wall she's standing behind.
Yeah, it's just what's behind her.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird that it did that.
I think it could even be just from compressing it to make a JPEG to post.
Maybe. I just never saw a photo do that. That's why I was.
Anybody else?
I don't like her love supply left hand personally.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get this, can y'all see this where it says sharing and everything? I
Mhm.
wanna bring this up to a full deal and I updated,
Margie,
yes,
it'll be, you go to full screen.
I know, that's what I'm looking for. I've just
Oh.
updated today and they've changed things around on me on my screen. And I'm trying to figure out how to go to full screen now. Any help from y'all? Anybody?
You go to full screen, is that what you said?
Yes. Normally I can go to full screen up here, but
Oh, you're in Reddit though, right?
Mhm.
No.
oh gosh, yeah. Let me go to Zoom. Well, we're gonna have to just doggone it.
We'll look through it.
Yeah, y'all have to
Margie.
just, yes.
Hit F11.
All right. Now, do I do Alt or Control or something with it?
No, just F11.
No. Nothing is happening. Huh. This is crazy. Let me see about more real quick. Record, meeting, leave, share. Nope, it's not there. I don't know why it's doing that. Normally it's right up here on my screen in the very top, but it's not there anymore.
Didn't you
So-
zoom in a little bit on the screen?
Ah,
Didn't
wait.
you zoom in like one click when you clicked on it? On
Mhm.
the,
Yeah, it'll, yeah, say it goes up and down. It should not go up and down. Okay, well, we're gonna go on. And I'll figure it out because they have really. Okay, let's go back. All right. Oh, we'll have fun with this one. Everybody just jump right in there.
Paper flowers.
It's what?
Were you trying to make them look like paper flowers?
Nope. Nope. And those are actual flowers.
Is that their actual color?
Yep.
Wow, that's cool. I really like how all the veins in the flowers show and are colored versus the not. Like it's just because that's, I don't know, it's the nerd in me. Those are just always fascinating, just like with leaves.
Yeah, I like the crispness of the veins and color.
Mm-hmm. Because the centers kind of have a watercolor look too,
Yeah.
which is neat. There's one dead flower,
Yep.
but it's like
Not
takes a
there.
little while to, yeah, takes a little while to notice, but
And I deliberately left it.
yeah.
So Margie, I have a question for you. At the top and at the kind of lower right, I assume those are leaves.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Did you desaturate them or is that just their natural color?
That is their natural color. And what I did do is use the gradient filter to bring up, you know, from dark on up to lighter. But that's the problem I'm having with this is what should I do with this part here? I don't mind this part in the back on the sides and here. It gives it a little bit of texture. I mean, I could make this darker over here on the top
Yeah.
left-hand side,
Mm.
but I don't know if I should or not. And I don't know about this part down here.
Is that a leaf as opposed
Yes.
to the stem then?
Yes,
Mhm.
it's a leaf.
Margie, what about lightning the dark background so you can read them as leaves. I think what gets lost is they don't quite look like leaves one would expect to see.
I think the background just kind of, it doesn't give it anything to attach to.
Mhm.
Like it's just flowers.
Yeah,
And I think that takes away from the three-dimensional look that they should have.
So you think I should lighten it?
Yeah,
Now it'd be easy enough to do. But I thought when it was lightened, I sort of felt like it took away from the flowers. But
I'm just thinking, you know, they look like they were paper flowers, like there's not a dimension to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that dark background adds to that.
Yeah.
It
What I
doesn't need to be
did,
much, just like a teensy bit.
Just to
What
give like
I
a
did-
dimension. Yeah.
Yeah.
what I did is I took the flower here, here, and here, and I darkened it using the radio filter. I went ahead and I darkened it. I lightened up the ones up front to bring them out more with the radio filter. And I darkened these just a hair on the side, which gave it this effect. You can see how these are lighter and these are a little bit darker. And then I went ahead and I darkened up the background a little bit because it seemed like it took away from the flowers themselves. I think Carl even said that it, and somebody else, that it bothered them because they kept seeing the leaf. So I went ahead and darkened it and I cropped it some to get rid of some of this bottom leaf. But the bottom leaf still bothers me, and I'm not sure. When I was on my small computer, I took a look and I couldn't even see the leaves. When I got on this computer, I moved my display a little bit. Depending upon how I have my display, the leaves are a little bit darker or a little bit lighter, depending upon how the display is. So I don't know, without having it printed out, which way to go. Do y'all do see the leaves though, right? The
Yeah.
definition of the leaves.
Yes, I didn't realize that was a leaf until you said that. I was like, is that, I was actually rubbing at my screen thinking I had something on my screen.
Yeah,
I have a thought.
Mm,
If you
yeah, go ahead.
if you were to lower the luminance on the green channel, that might disappear.
Yeah, I could do that. I definitely can. And I didn't even think about doing that.
Ziba, that's enough.
Okay,
Ziba.
thank you so much. Something I've been going a little crazy with. All right. We're not going to critique that. Here's one of Beth's. I don't think this has been critiqued yet, right?
Not online. It's been done, like a couple people commented on it on the site, but not in a meeting.
One thing about this is I'm glad it is in black and white, and I'm not a black and white person, but I do like the black and white of it. And I always like old rusty stuff. You know, I got barbed wire on my mirror in the living room, y'all probably noticed.
mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's just got
Ah.
character.
it does, it has character, and I really like that part of it. It just reminds me of home, or what used to be my home, you know?
In Texas.
Yeah, lots and lots of barbed wire I've pulled.
Yep.
So it does have some emotion to me, you know, with me.
Mm.
How about the contrast, everybody? How do you
I-
feel about that?
I was thinking that maybe there should have been a little bit more contrast between the post and the background. I think it blends in almost a little too much. And there should be a little bit, I think a little bit more separation. I would like it a little bit more. I like the subject. as far as that goes. I think it's cool.
So maybe
The
little
bushes
bit.
are not very far behind it.
Yeah, I figured, but
They're
I
out
just
of
think,
focus, but it's difficult to really get them out of it lighting wise, because they're in this pretty much the same light as the post.
yeah, I just think if there was maybe like a little bit more contrast, maybe around the edge, like the edges of the post, that the post would stand out a little bit more. Just a little bit more darkened spots maybe on the edges to separate it. But I think it's interesting. I like all the detail in that in the post itself, and all the detail in the wood and the barbed wire itself. And I do like how you have the background softened. It's just, I think there needs to be just a little more separation between the two.
Okay.
So Beth, anytime I have like a single subject like this, I know I typically add what I hope is a rather mild vignette, but just to kind of focus attention on the subject. And interestingly, on your photo, you have what, I'm not sure if it's natural or you actually darken it yourself. You have a vignette in the, maybe too strong a vignette, in the upper right corner and the lower right corner. And so I would lighten those up, but then actually put a vignette clear around the thing.
Yeah.
But those two dark spots right now, just to me, they bother me.
Okay. I think that's actually the lower right is getting close to the dirt behind it because this isn't flat land. And then the upper right in the distance, there's actually a bunch of trees and bushes that darkened it in that spot. Because I don't
just do two gradients and lighten them up and then throw a vignette around the whole thing.
Okay. I think there might be a vignette, but when I do one, I usually aim for subtle.
Yeah, it's a little bit darker even on the bottom left-hand side.
Yeah.
Do you get a vignette naturally when you use a lens, baby?
Not necessarily.
I think, I suspect that's what might have partially happened on the right side there. The two on the right side and the left.
No, that's not from the lens.
Okay.
Overall, I love the composition. I love the subject. It's just really nice. I love the character, not only of the barbed wire, but all of the roughness of the post. It does tell a story. It tells you that that post is rotted out, very old, and that's the reason your barbed wire has broke.
Well, it got clipped off because the people are taking down all the fences. This is one of the few posts that's actually still out there. And I tried to move it because if I can, I'm actually going to bring the post home if I can do it and keep the barbed wire where it is. But I can't budge it. It doesn't even wiggle.
It's probably in concrete. We used to put gravel in the bottom of ours and then concrete it.
None of the others are.
Take your chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's a Sawzall in the garage.
That's a plain old Pennsylvania locust post.
Yeah. Put a piece of denim from blue jeans on one of the hooks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, little red blood.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
plain old shirt.
Okay, this is, who is A Shutter? I know who that is.
It's Alan.
Who?
Alan.
You skipped
Okay.
Rebecca's.
Did you already do this yet? No?
No.
Okay.
I basically just did this one to mess with Bob for his AI pictures that he put on last month.
So is this an AI?
If you go down a little further, you'll see he has a vase with a bunch of flowers in, and I forget what the other one was.
Yeah,
We're
I
all-
remember his tulips. Bob's tulips, but is this picture we're looking at in AI?
Yeah,
Okay. And we will go.
I
to
have
see-
one above that that's looking for a critique. There's no picture it's showing where it says kissing trolleys. The picture doesn't show up. Below, right above the eagle,
Oh, okay.
right there. If you
Oh,
click on
I
it, it's gonna
see.
go up. I
Okay.
hope,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
hopefully it'll show.
It will, it took me a
Just
little
take a
bit
second.
before it
All
came.
right.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh, I love trolleys. Oh, yes.
Somebody was at Charlie Graveyard.
This is another place I want to go, like really bad.
Where is this trolley place at?
It's outside of the Johnstown area.
Yeah,
Yep, Wimber.
It's private,
It's the one
right?
that we got
Road
kicked
trip.
out of.
Let's
I
go.
was gonna say,
Yeah,
we're
it's-
not
Yeah,
allowed
but
to be
I was
there.
gonna
It's
ask-
private property, yeah. I
Yeah,
went with the
we-
group. We had permission to go and we paid, so you can't just go on there.
Yeah.
No, you
Oh,
can.
that's
but
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on there and got thrown out, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we took some good pictures while Brian was dealing with
Well,
everything.
yeah, while they left me with the guy with the gun,
Yeah, yeah.
chasing us
Brian and I
off,
had that
they
guy.
took pictures.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Brian and
I went legally. It's all good. I went legally. We were allowed. I paid my fee.
So what did they charge, Rebecca, for you to go? Do you remember?
Shoot, it was either 75 or 150. I can't remember what it was because I did 2 shoots that weekend with them.
Wow.
I think it was at least 75. It may have been more, but it was worth it
75 for the group or?
just for me to go. Yeah, each ticket.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
How
I
long?
don't know if you got that.
And we were there for like 4 hours, so it was just total free range.
Yeah, that might be good.
I don't know if he's doing any workshops ever again, but Abandoned America, which Brian, you told me about, they're the ones that went. I don't know if he's doing workshops again or not.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any recently.
He hasn't done any since July. The last time I went, I don't think he's done any since July. That's when this was, so I don't know.
Okay, well, let's go ahead.
Got a
and
helmet and a bulletproof vest. Let's go.
Okay. Start off, is it in focus? How's the contrast? Come on, people.
I like the colors
I love the subject.
and the
of course.
subject out. Everything's in focus.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice and sharp from what I can see. And I really, really like I said, the composition looks great as far as I'm concerned. Now this is my opinion only, but I think there might be a little bit too much yellow in the leaves up here.
A little bit too bright.
Okay,
Too bright, too much yellow, too bright up here. And it's a little bit distracting. I would get in there and tone it down a little bit.
okay.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
question for you.
Yeah,
The bottom of the frame seems like it's cropped too close to the bottom of the trolley, if you will. Is there a reason that you had to crop it this way?
no, just composition choice. I think that, I don't even think I cropped in anymore when I posted it.
Okay. It just seems like there should be something that I should be.
You want
looking
wheels?
Yeah.
below.
And that would probably take care of getting rid of some of the trees up
But you
top.
wouldn't want to do very much.
Right.
Okay,
You might want to see the wheels. I
okay.
don't think you want to see much more than that.
Let me look at the original.
Yeah. Well, then, is there anything else? It does tell a story,
Mhm.
good old days, and the graffiti,
Mhm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's something else that is very interesting.
I like the fact that there's not just one whole trolley there, that you have the three of them together like that.
Yeah. Okay. And like I said, Rebecca, these are all our opinions. You can agree with them
what I want.
or
That's what I
disagree
want.
with them. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of times I disagree with what everybody says, but it gives me another way of looking at my picture.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to hear what, just because
Yeah.
I like it doesn't mean anybody else was, and I want to hear what you guys got to say. No,
Yeah.
please, have at it.
Okay.
It's all for it.
Yeah.
Brian, were you ready or do you want me to continue on or what? Are you there, Brian? Is Rex here tonight? I didn't see him.
Okay,
No,
I'm here. How much time do you need, Jim, and how much time do you need, Carl?
I'm probably 20 minutes.
I'm close to the 5.
Okay, and I'm about 15 or 20. So go ahead and go to 8 o'clock, Margie. If you want to, go ahead and do another picture or two.
Okay, we'll get down here to, okay, let's see here. Let me go back. That's what we need to do. I want to get to the contest from the contest. Let's see here. What was last month?
February.
I know. I missed that month.
yep.
Okay, let's see if we have anybody new here. Here's one of Marty's. Okay. This I'm sure was taken at the Aviary
Yes.
in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I noticed is the eyes, of course, and you do have a spark of life in the eyes. I love the feathers. It just amazes me when you look at this bird, how the feathers are made. You would think that they would get caught on something and torn out.
The Victorian crown pigeon is some of the prettiest feathers of any of the birds that are there. Plus
Yeah.
the bright red eye that they have.
Elegant, very
They're
elegant.
So pretty.
Yeah, the colors are great and it's sharp, Well, that's all high, but if you look at it here, it really is sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see.
And that was done with my cell phone.
If it were mine, I would look at cropping it much tighter. Because I think the feathers are the photograph.
Yeah.
Okay,
Went up there
so
against that rock though.
like what kind of crap are you talking, Dennis?
Oh, I'd get rid of that rock. I might even start cutting pieces of the bird off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that central area where from the eye on the right to the end of the feathers on the left. I crop 50% of it away, just to see. I think the structure of the feathers is amazing.
I would go right below that feather that goes down to the bottom
At the
there, right?
bottom? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit below that and up. Yeah, because like Dennis said, the feathers in his face is what the focus is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just almost crop out the bird,
Yeah.
Well, you're making it, you're making an interpretation. So
Right.
I think it's perfectly legit to cut the bird in half.
Yeah,
It's not a photo of the bird, it's a photo of the feathers.
the feathers, that's it. I've actually taken on some of my birds that I've taken that are colorful and just had the body of the feathers.
People do that on flamingos and go into that feather structure and leave the rest of the bird gone.
Yeah, get rid of the rest of it.
I did when I was there. I did a couple photos like that with the flamingo feathers. I just got a couple photos of just the feathers.
Yeah.
Like you said, just because of the structure of them.
Sorry.
If you really wanted to do that, I would probably crop it right behind its eye
Yeah,
and then crop it real tight so that you can see how that circular motion comes out from right behind the eye there.
Right.
yeah.
Just
Mhm.
use the feathers and just crop it right behind the eye and let it do its circular motion with the feathers.
Yeah.
Hey, Marty, that might make a good kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Well, you know, one good thing about a picture like this is there's so many pictures within this one photo.
Hmm.
You can have a whole lot of fun just cropping and rearranging. I mean, come up with all kinds of abstract photos. And Marty, you're good with that.
yeah, the only problem with the kaleidoscope on the feathers is there's not enough detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's detail, but there's not enough contrast to do a
Uh-huh.
kaleidoscope.
Okay.
Not that I know anything about that.
Oh,
Thank you.
yep.
Okay, here's one of Linda's. I don't think we've done any of Linda's tonight.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, I think you need to make a choice. You got that log in the center of the photo with a bird on and below. You got to either decide which of the halves is the prominent half and crop out the other part. Know what I mean?
Yeah, crop it either across the bottom or crop
Yeah.
it across the top.
You know, decide which you want to emphasize. Because if you look at it, your eyes bounce up and down.
Mhm.
That's interesting. I kept both halves in because I like the reflection on the
No, I would
bottom.
keep
Kind of
the reflection.
wavy.
No, I think he's talking, Dennis, aren't you
Yeah.
saying crop down here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
or
Mhm.
crop it a little bit across the bottom.
yeah. You
Not
have a
crop,
little-
not
you have a
crop.
little-
It's a little too centered.
Okay.
You have a little detail, you have some detail in the bottom part you might want to keep. The sky is kind of bald.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And well, another way to look at it is to go to a
Black and
9:16 aspect ratio.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
Make a little bit of a panorama.
I like the way you're standing on one leg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And I-
thinking, did you crop it before?
Just a
did you-
little bit. He was really cooperative. I took a walk. I took pictures and then I took a walk and I came back and he was still there. So I changed cameras and I took some more pictures. So he was very lazy.
I'm thinking if you have enough at the top or at the left side to do kind of like you know, when you look in, you see the grid for the thirds.
Mhm.
If you have enough at the top, I would drop that image down to the right to that third,
Okay.
where the bird's at that third, and make it look like he's looking up.
That's interesting. I know I don't have a lot on the sides at all. But I may have some, obviously
okay.
from the top that I can move.
Well, I do like the little weeds, whatever they are, on each side because it's
Yeah.
sort of
It frames you.
the bird.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying crop any of that out. I'm just saying add to move him. to
Yeah,
move
and
the
I
picture.
won't be able to do that because I don't have anything. What you see is, I don't think I cropped it that way. at all.
Okay.
Okay.
They're saying that, you know, there's nothing on the left or the right for you to
No, I
to
don't,
move that.
no.
So, yeah, but definitely either crop some of the, I would crop some of the top of it off. Because you have detail in the bottom there, you know, you can see the rocks through the water. And you definitely don't want to crop any of
The bottom.
the foliage, you know, the reflection of that that's in the water
Yeah,
or bird. But there's just a little bit, it's just a little too centered.
gotcha. Good
Well, I
point.
tell you what, I don't think with a reflection type photo, there's an issue with it being centered. Although I do agree with Dennis's prior comment, and Linda, I'm not sure you picked up on that, is to simply change the aspect ratio and do your crop down from the top and up from the bottom, however you'd like, but I think it needs that elongated aspect
Yeah.
ratio. But keep it, I think it belongs centered. That's a natural for a reflection type photo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even totally centered. It's a little bit off to your right. And I like the position it's in. But like Dennis said, I really like his comment about how to crop it.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's
you
have a
put
look.
this and the weeds in place. Maybe not that, but so that your focus goes to the bird.
Yeah. I think a panoramic type elongated rectangle would look nice. And that would, if you cut the bottom off, I would just do that little bit down in the bottom right corner there. Cut it up right where you see those little weeds starting to stick out there at the bottom.
Mhm.
I'd be afraid to crop anything down there. 'Cause
No, at the very, very bottom right corner.
Very bottom.
Go
Yeah,
down.
keep going, keep going.
Oh,
Right
you
there,
know what?
right there.
I can see it. I
I
just can't
don't
get to
see
it.
that.
Yeah, in a
I'm
situation like this, you should crop it until it hurts.
Mhm.
Then you know you've gone too far.
That's right. There
Okay.
you go.
See,
And then there's a little weed sticking out on the left side, right below your log. Just kind of clone that out of there.
I don't know what you guys are seeing because it's cut off on my screen.
Yeah, I see part of the weed here. I
Yeah.
can't get this stupid thing out.
I mean, you could clone those out.
Hey, well, there we
instead
go.
of cropping.
There's
I mean,
what they're looking at.
Yeah, you could
There
clone
you go.
those out. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Yes.
And then over here on the left side, like right below the log.
I see what you're saying.
A little twig.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
Yep.
I would get rid of that. But I like it. I like the composition.
Oh, yeah.
I do agree with cutting some of the water at the top off
Okay.
and making it more skinnier.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you
don't
all.
listen to anything I said because I wasn't looking at the right size picture. I'm being serious. The way that Zoom has it cropped here for me to see, I'm looking at a completely different cropping.
Ah,
Okay.
So I'm not gonna say anything else anymore.
I
It's
do
okay,
like the
I
idea.
read it.
Yeah, I really like the idea that you did catch that bird just between those two sets of weeds.
Yeah.
And how the reflection of the weeds, I don't know if that's a reflection or just the weeds going in both. No, it's not a
No,
reflection.
it's a reflection.
he's just
Yeah, yeah,
posing,
it is.
posing so nice.
Yeah, I really like this all through here.
He almost looks like somebody shortened his legs because his legs are always so long. Because, but the way he's standing on that log, you
know.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
I
cool.
really, overall, I really do like the picture.
Yeah,
Just a few little,
Tweaks.
here and there.
We
And
should have did this before I had it printed. But that's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
go back there. He may still be in the same spot.
You could always
Super
hide the
glue
print
him
with
in
a map.
Okay, I think that's gonna be it. It's after 8. And we can always do more of these if everybody finishes up earlier and we need it. Okay? Brian?
Okay,
Brian?
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay.
There you go.
And
Hey,
Margie,
look,
you're
there's
getting good at
DL.
this.
Hey, DL,
Lucky, we actually see you.
are you gonna be there at IHOP?
You're
Oh.
muted, yeah.
You're muted.
He's talking, but nobody's hearing.
Mm-mm. Not
Are
to
you
hear
gonna-
anything.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, look at
Are you
that.
gonna be at IHOP?
Probably.
Ah, I know where I can bring my computer.
Uh,
All right, guys. Margie, thank you very much. You're getting quite good at the sharing and stop sharing thing. It's only taken 3 years.
and look,
No,
Brian's actually showing his face too. Look at that.
I know it.
Wow.
I wanted
Done.
to try the new feature with the iPhone as being the camera screen or your camera for this kind of stuff. So I wanted to try that out. That's the reason I'm doing it, and it worked. So
Oh, good.
yeah. So anyhow, so focus stacking, that is our topic for the evening. And as Jim informed me about 15 or 25 minutes ago, that I'm doing the overview of what focus stacking is. So we're going to talk about it. Then I'm going to show you the very simple process of doing it in Lightroom, or not Lightroom, but Photoshop. Very easy to do because Lightroom is pretty good at it.
Photoshop.
Okay.
Photoshop. You guys know I continually say those two things incorrectly. When I'm working in Lightroom, I call it Photoshop. When I'm working in Photoshop, I call it Lightroom. So Photoshop is what we'll be talking about this evening, no matter what I call it. Okay.
Okay.
So what is focus stacking? Why do you use it? How do you use it? What reason would you have for using it? So focus stacking is used a lot in macro photography, and that's where you really get a good use of it. But you can also use it in landscape photography, as well as pretty much anything else. Anything that you have issues with getting everything in focus, you can use focus stacking for. So my example this evening will be a landscape photo to be used as focus stacking. But basically what it is, and the idea of it is what you're going to do is you're going to take pictures with your camera, and you're going to start out at the very closest point to your camera, and you're going to take a picture, and then you're going to move your camera focus a little bit, take another picture, and then move it a little bit and take another picture, and you continually do that through your whole scene, whether that be a picture of an ant or a full scene of a landscape, so that you end up with a series of photos that are in focus at different points from beginning to end. So from the closest to your camera, to the furthest away from your camera. So then you're going to take that series of pictures and put those in Photoshop. I said it right that time, guys. Put those in Photoshop and tell Photoshop what you want to do with those, that you want to stack those together. And Photoshop's going to go through based on how you tell it to stack them and look for what's in focus in each picture and use those to combine into a single picture at the end that is in focus from beginning to end. And it's a really simple process. So as far as taking the pictures, that's pretty easy too. Highly recommend not doing it handheld. Rebecca, I don't think I've ever seen you use a tripod. She's shaking her head. Nope.
Nope.
But as far as doing this for focus stacking, to make it easier on yourself and easier on the camera and easier on the Photoshop program, it's best that if you're on a tripod. That way there's no movement in everything, or very, very little movement in it. And even, as we know, even with a tripod, you might get a little bit of movement from one picture to the next. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get your exposure, set it. And Margie, you'll be happy to hear me say this. I recommend and highly recommend you do this in manual mode.
Yeah.
I knew she'd be excited about that.
Yeah.
She knows I never recommend manual mode for anything. But in this case, you want to use a manual mode because you want your exposure to stay exactly the same. You don't want to change that as you're taking your pictures. And then the only thing you're going to do is a movement of your focus ring on your camera. So you want your aperture to stay the same. You want your shutter speed to stay the same. And then as you move your focus ring on your camera, you start out like I said, as close to you as possible, or as close to you as you want the picture to be in focus. And then you just move in steps just a little bit, one picture after another, until you get to the last point of focus that you want to be. And then that's your series of pictures. So that's pretty simple. Now some cameras, I know Alan, I think he still has a D850. I have a D850. There's a feature in there that'll do that for you. I'm not familiar with the Canons enough. I know I know Rebecca shoots with the R6, I believe it is now. Does it have focus stacking built in? She has no idea. Let's go up to Dennis. Does Dennis know?
I think it does, but I've never used it. I have an R5.
Okay. All right. So Dennis has an R5. There's a possibility your camera may or may not have it. It's not in a lot of cameras. I know that when the D850 came out for Nikon, that was one of the selling features of it, that it had focus stacking built into it. So I tried it out and it works really well. The nice part about it is that you take your picture you start out in manual, but you're going to tell the camera that you want to take so many pictures for your whatever it is you're taking a picture of, and it will automatically move the focus. You start to focus out at as close to you started out at as close to you as you can, and it'll take 45 pictures if that's what you want it to do from that focus point to infinity. So it does the movement of the camera, of the focusing, all automatically for you, which is nice because then you don't have to do anything other than set it up and take a picture. And then you're going to come back to Photoshop and make that take those pictures and make your picture out of it. If you don't do
It'll
it,
also put everything in a folder too.
And that is true. It will put those pictures in a folder so that when you go to download them, you'll know where they're at. They're all in one folder together, which is nice. So, and like I said, your camera may or may not do that. I'm going to step out on a limb and say that's probably going to be mostly in your higher end cameras with this option in it. I haven't seen it in any of the lower end or mid grade cameras, but I have seen it, like I said, in the D850. Rob, it was you.
Yeah, Brian, I just Googled it. It says that the R6 and the R5 can do it with a depth of field bracketing. It's not a true photo stack function, but it does have a depth of field bracketing. And then the new Canons, the R7 and the R10 actually have an in-camera stacking where it would do the composite right in the camera. So that's the latest technology. That's a step beyond what Rebecca and Dennis and myself have.
Okay.
And
So
then-
the Nikon doesn't do it in camera. All it does is take the pictures. So it doesn't actually do the stacking. It takes the pictures, but it doesn't.
I don't know if I would want it. I don't know if I would want it in camera, because I remember you did one of these before, and I remember you did it manually. It came out better than what Photoshop did. So
yeah,
bunch of the rocks. I remember the picture with the rocks. So I'm not so sure I would like that, but
yeah, actually, that's probably the same picture I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But anyhow, so you have options of doing it, but really, anyone can do it as long as you can adjust a focus ring. So it's real easy as far as getting the pictures taken. And then the Photoshop part, like I said, is again, extremely easy. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to bounce into Photoshop here.
while you're getting there, Brian, how do you know how many pictures to take when you photo stack? That's where I always get confused. Like, should I take 5, 6, 10?
The one I watched a video, a guy doing landscape, and he was doing 40. He was doing 45.
Wow.
I think that's a little excessive.
A guy.
I think that's a little excessive.
I know somebody who does like 78 or more sometimes. Joey Terrell.
Yeah. Now I think that if you're focus stacking, let's say a moth, and you're going from the antenna to the back of the wings, and you're doing it in macro, I can see doing a whole bunch of pictures there, because in a macro mode, your depth of field is very, very minimal. So if you did that in 3 pictures, you're most likely not going to get everything in focus. So I could see a situation like that. But I think that if you're out shooting on a focus stack of a landscape, like the one I'm going to show you, I shot it at a little shallower depth of field. I didn't shoot it f/22. It don't make any sense if you're going to focus stack it. But we know that a lot of lenses and cameras are much sharper at 5.6 than they are at f/22. So being able to bring your aperture down and then do a focus stack of 10 or 12 pictures or 6 pictures or whatever at a sharper aperture, you end up with a sharper picture in the end. And that's part of the reason for doing a focus stacking is to get your sharpest and everything in focus. And that is one thing you can do. Like, and I back when I talked about this a few years ago, we talked about the way light refracts inside your lenses and stuff like that. And I don't want to get into all that tonight. But we know that a lot of lenses work better at 5, 6, or 8 than they do at 16 or 22. So when you can back down by using focus stack, you can shoot everything at f8 or f5, 6 or whatever your lens works the best at, and still get a picture that is infinitely in focus from one end to the other. That's a reason to use this. So Rob, I don't know if I answered your question, but I think really the amount of pictures you take depends on what it is you're doing. And like if I was shooting a macro picture of something really small, a little bug or a little ant or something, of course, if you're doing this, it can't be moving. Sorry, guys. But you know, I would be more apt to use a bunch of pictures at that very, very shallow depth of field. And then if I'm doing a landscape, I would be more apt to do 6 or 7 pictures in a landscape, or maybe 8, I don't know. But I think it's just a matter of playing with it a little bit to see what works best for your camera, your lens, and your taste.
A note of caution. Don't try it with anything that's moving in any way, shape, or form, because it doesn't work. It's not reading the same amount of what's in focus and what's not in focus, and it gets kind of confused, and you'll end up throwing something away.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said from Carl, the picture I'm going to show you has movement in it.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Carl.
Well, I got irises all over the place. It didn't work at all.
All right, guys. Let me share my screen here, and I'm going to get into Photoshop here. And I don't know why, but this thing pops in here, and it's always in the wrong spot, and I hate that thing. Let's go Photoshop. Okay, so actually, let me open Lightroom here real quick first. So I had these pictures in Lightroom, and this is my series of pictures, 1 through 6. So a lot of us work in Lightroom first, and then we pop over to Photoshop to do stuff. We don't open everything in Photoshop. So what you do with that is in Lightroom, you get your pictures, whatever it is, however many of them is, you highlight them all, you right click on it, and you tell it that you want to edit in Photoshop, but you want to open as layers in Photoshop. So you want it to open that group of pictures, however many it is, in Photoshop as layers. Okay. So that's how you want to do that. So you're going to right click on your pictures, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. That's the first step. And then that'll pop them over to Photoshop for you, which I've done. And to save time, I've already did that ahead of time for us. So I pop over here into Photoshop, and you see, and I know this messes with some of you guys, but I have my stuff on the left-hand side. You see now that I have the layers of those photos, 6 of them. Quite simple. So each one of those is one layer into one photo in one picture. And here's how you do this. You highlight all your pictures. You're going to go into the edit menu. And the first step you're going to do is an auto align layers. And you're not going to go in here. You don't pick anything, just leave it as auto and click OK. So Photoshop's going to do that. It's going through these files. It's auto aligned them. And if we look over here on the right side, you'll see just a wee little tiny white line there. And that means that the tripod moved a little bit. But it's now aligned to everything else. So eventually in the end, I'm going to crop that section out whenever I get done with the picture. So just that little white line, if you guys notice that. So once I've done that, the next step is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go up to edit. And in this time, instead of doing the auto align, I'm going to go to auto blend layers. And in here, this is where you guys would do panoramas if you've ever done those, or we have the option to do stack images. Going to leave these two guys connected on, and I'm going to tell it okay. So it's going to do its thing. And Photoshop's going through each one of those layers, picking out what's in focus and adding mask to each one of the layers. And now the top picture or the top layer that's in your stack is your merged picture that's in focus. The rest of these are the sections. And if you look at these, we're going to turn these all off. We'll go back down through them one at a time. What you see here is in this layer, it used what you see in the picture that is in the black or colors. It used that section. And then it used that from the next picture. And then it used that from the next picture. And then it used that. Then it used that to make a final picture that's in focus from beginning to end. So it's in focus from here all the way back in here. Quite simple, easy, not much to it. But I tried this picture at f/22. I tried this picture at f/16. I tried this picture at different ways, and I couldn't get everything as sharp as this picture is here. So that's the reason I did it as far as a landscape, and did it as Photoshop or using Photoshop to do a photo stacking picture. And Carl, as you said you're not supposed to use something that's moving. My water is obviously moving, and it worked out pretty good. I'm not saying that it works every time. Excuse me. I'm not saying that it works every time, but in this particular instance, it did a pretty good job.
I have a question, Brian.
Yeah.
What f-stop are you using when you took all these photos? When you're stacking your photos, what f-stop are you using?
So in this particular case, I bounced back over here to Lightroom to be able to show you. So these were shot at where'd it go? f/8.
Okay.
So if I focus like on my first rock here,
Right.
f/8 obviously isn't going to get me everything back here in focus.
Right. No, I understand.
So yeah, but by doing that, I'm able, as I said before, I'm able to get all the sections in focus by using a shallower depth of field. The lens that I was using was my 50 millimeter lens.
Okay.
Which, as we know, if we have a 50, most 50s only go to like an f/16 anyhow, so they don't go all the way up to f/22.
Right.
A lot of them. So mine only goes to f/16, and f/16 it's not as sharp as it is at f/8.
Right.
So by being able to shoot everything at f/8, I get sharper images in layers that I can put together then. And this was shot at ISO 64 and at an eighth of a second because I wanted movement in the water.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay.
Not really a
that being-
question, but maybe a little tip. Take a picture of your hand before you start your pictures, your series of pictures, and then at the end, that way you'll know where all your pictures are at.
Absolutely, that is a great tip, and I use that all the time. If I go back to the original file, you'll see a picture of my hand at the beginning and a picture of my hand at the end of this series. And I do the same thing if I'm doing bracketing or, just exposure bracketing or anything like that. I will take the first picture is my hand and the last picture is my hand. That way, when I come back and look at the pictures online, I know exactly which ones belong to what series.
I do the same thing, but I use my foot.
Okay. Yeah. Or
My
just,
wife always says when she sees the pictures, why'd you take a picture of your foot?
Yep. Yeah, it's an indicator for you. I mean, and you can use anything. Like I've done where I've just took a picture straight down, or took a picture with a lens cap on when I had lens caps. Anything that you can do. I know you're laughing. Anything that you can do to indicate to you what the series is. So
Yeah, I always use the ground.
Yep. All right, guys. Any other questions before I jump off of this and turn it over to the next person? All right. Let me see here. Stop share. Stop share. Okay, and
Uh,
whoever's next, you're next.
I will try to share here. Okay, well, it's interesting that Carl and Brian, and I think someone else chimed in as far as issues with moving objects. And Brian's photo is an example where his stream, and particularly the white water aspect of the stream, was pretty much in the background. And unless you were really pixel peeping at his photo, you probably wouldn't really be able to tell where some of the problems were. I'll call it ghosting, because of different photos showing up at the literally around the same spot of the water. And it kind of looks unreal, if you will. Helicon Focus is a program that I purchased probably about 2 years or so ago. And for a couple of reasons. One is I don't use Lightroom and Photoshop, so I didn't have the access to Photoshop's focus stacking. And at the time, I was using the program that Beth is currently using for her RAW development, On One Photo RAW. And while I was using it, it added focus stacking. And one of the first photos I attempted to use or to take with using the focus stacking was probably up at Lynn Run on the stream there. And I had rocks in the foreground, but the stream was more prominent in the frame. And the stream, the white water aspect, there were spots that just looked god awful ugly. And so somehow or another in research, I came across this Helicon Focus. Helicon Soft is the name of the company, and Helicon Focus is the name of their focus stacking program. So what I'm going to do here is I've got two different photos, series of photos. And this was a pretty simple one. And I know I'm in Capture One, you would do the exact same thing in Lightroom, and Ryan kind of described the process. I'm just going to go ahead and select my photos and go up to Image and Edit With and Stack with Helicon Focus. And this might take a minute or two for Capture One to generate. I forget whether I've got it set to generate TIFF images or DNGs, but it'll send them over to Helicon Focus. And Lightroom would do the same thing. So in this case, it actually sent over the DNGs because I can see it's unprocessed. And I got to move you people out of the way because you're blocking my screen. So over here on the right side are the images of all the photos. And I can select one. In this one, I'm not sure if you can tell looking on your monitor or not, but here the front of the log is in focus. And if I go on down, it goes a little bit further into the log, a little bit further into the log, a little bit further into the log, and likewise then all the way into the background. So for this program, actually, you know what? Hold on for a second here. I can't get to it now. Forget that. Oh, shoot. This darn Zoom screen is in. I got to go back here. Here's what I wanted to do. Okay. I don't know if you can see when I put your pictures on, whether you see it on my screen or not. But anyway, let me go. I'm sorry. Okay, back to Helicon Focus. And so there's a render button here, which starts the process of the stacking. And it's in a certain extent, it's similar to, well, it's almost identical, I guess, for all intents and purposes to Photoshop. So on the right here is my stacked image, and on the left is the selected image here. But you should be able to see with, well, I can go through the photo and everything up through from front to back is pretty much in focus. So that's a pretty simple application of it. So I'm going to quit that. I just wanted to demonstrate the process. And what I really want to show you is the stream photo. This is another stream photo. Get you guys back out of the way. And in this case, I only have 3 photos. Basically, it's the bottom, the middle, and the back are what I focused on. And I don't recall, it might have been like F8 or so. So I'm going to do the same thing, select the photos. And I'm going to get edit with Helicon Focus. And it's the same process. I've got my 3 photos here on the right. I'm going to go ahead and render them. And now I've got a stacked photo. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to read my cursor or not here, but where the yellow dot here is, it identifies which of the files was used for that particular part of the photo. In my file numbering naming system, it starts with the year, the month, the day, and then the index number. So in this case, it's, if you look at, it's 078 is the photo that it took, which is this first one here. So there's 78, 81, and 85 in this sequence. So if I go up somewhere in the stream, it's up to 81 now. And if I go back in the background, it's up to 85. But what I want to show here is if I move my cursor around, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the numbers change or not. So it went from 81 to 85 there in just a little bit. And if I, it's hard to show this zoomed in. So what I'm going to do is, here's where Helicon Focus is different. It has a retouching section. And I think Brian would be able to tell you that he could do this same thing with the stacked images and the mask that Photoshop is applying to his photos. But it would be very tedious work. And what Helicon Focus does is makes it quite easy process. So just for, so right now, this is showing the depth map that's basically of the 3 photos. Here's the one photo in the foreground, which is primarily the rocks. And then the third photo, which is the background behind the stream. But you can see the stream is a mixture of all 3 of those photos. And Carl alluded to this. So that stream has portions of all 3 photos in it. In some places you can, if you really zoomed in closely, you could see where those are. And in some places you really can't tell the difference. But what I can do here is actually using a brush. What I'll do is I'll select which one of the 3 photos I want the stream to be. And then I'll just brush that in for the stream. So here's my brush here. I'm going to go back out of that view. And I'm going to go ahead and select the middle photo, which happens to be now here on the left. And what I can do is, wherever I paint on this side with my brush is going to take the pixels from that photo that's on the left and put them back in the photo where they were replaced during the actual focus stacking process. So I can basically just go through here and clean up where I think or where I looked and peered at the photo and found some areas that just didn't look right because it was combining the three photos in basically the same section of the photo. So that takes away that ghosting that you'll find in the actual water itself. As far as other features of the program, if I go back to rendering, there's three rendering methods. There's A, B, and C. And I don't pretend to be an expert on it, but it depends on the type of photo that you're taking, which one of the various rendering methods might work better depending on what's in the photo itself. But what I primarily wanted to show you was the retouching capability of it. It's basically kind of a masking type process. It's just easy to use because you can just look at the cursor and pick a photo that you want to select from and basically paint that into the focus stacked version of the photo. And just to demonstrate another use of that, out of there. This is a very brief video.
I will go through the stack now to show you that shooting conditions were not perfect. The wasp was moving, and you can see that it's Silicon Soft video tutorials. Today, I will show you how much you can do with unique retouching tools Helicon Focus has. I will start by opening a short stack of 5 images by Colin Hutton. I will go through the stack now to show you that shooting conditions were not perfect. The wasp was moving, and you can see that its positions has been changing all the time. It's always really challenging to get good stacking results when images are so much misaligned. But now, let's see what we can do here. First, I will render the stack. I'm using C method this time because I know it will cope with these multiple bristles and complicated surface shape better than the other ones. Well, now I can see that this movement of the wasp almost spoiled the resulting image, because now you see I have these antennae from all the source images. This is where I will use the retouching tool to rescue the image. Now, you will see how it works. On the retouching tab, you can see 3 types of brush. The first one to copy from source image, the second one to clone areas within the output image, and another brush to erase changes. The first, the copy from source brush, is exactly what I want here. And actually, this is the one that is chosen by default. Now, I'll zoom the antenna in slightly, just for better view. To proceed with retouching of this antennae defect that I have now, I will first need to find the source image with the best focused antennae. Then I will use this layer to replace the relevant problem part of the output image. I'll just go through the stack until I find the best image to copy from. I think that this is the one. Antennae look much more focused here than on the rest of the images. I have the source image on the left and the output one on the right. There's another great feature of Helicon Focus that makes retouching really simple. The source and output images are perfectly aligned. It means that I don't have to make any effort to fit the copied area exactly in the same place, unlike with any usual general purpose image editor. Now, I'll increase the size of the brush a bit to speed up the process. You may also use square bracket keys for this. What I also like a lot about this brush is that it has a preview option, which makes it absolutely handy for retouching of different kinds of artifacts. Now, I can see how it will look like, and it seems just fine to me. So I use the left mouse button to apply the copy from source brush. Look, just several clicks and it's done. When you say retouching, you usually think of something complicated and time-consuming. But with Helicon Focus, it's really simple. I had a short but really problematic stack, but managed to receive perfect output image. Try it out for yourself, and you will be impressed.
All right, I just want to show you one.
Welcome to Helicon Soft Video Tutorials. Helicon Focus has now got a new
It's not cheap. There's a starter version of it if you just want to play with it, which is, so it's 1-year license or a lifetime license. Unfortunately, the light version does not include the retouching feature, which I think is key to the program. And then you have the Pro package, which includes the retouching. And it's a 1-year license at $55 and a lifetime at $200. So that's about it. And Carl, I will stop my share, and I guess I should ask if there's any questions first.
Which package do you have?
I got the middle one, the Pro package.
Okay. What's the difference between the Pro package and the premium?
The premium, oh my God. So you can use it, I think, with like Android or Apple devices.
All right.
I think everything else is the same, Margie, but you'll have to go on. And I think there's a graph in there somewhere that kind of shows you the differences between the products.
Well, I know that from what I have read, which is very little, they said that this is actually better than the Photoshop focus stacking.
Well, I just the fact that it has the retouching feature
Would make it better.
I think the answer, yeah, it's better. There's no limit to the number of photos that you can stack. So if you're doing macro work and you got 150 photos in your stack, it'll handle it.
Okay, thank you.
Jim, you're correct as far as I believe that the retouching is way better in this program than it would be in Photoshop. Photoshop can definitely be retouched, but it would have to be by going through and adjusting layer mask on each one of your layers. So if you're dealing with 5 or 6 pictures, that's not too bad. But if you're dealing with 150 pictures and you want to go back through and adjust a whole bunch of layer mask, that could be very tedious. So yeah, definitely. I like the retouching features of this one way better.
Yeah, I think doing it in Photoshop, and I've played with masking in Photoshop previously. I think it would take you a whole day, Brian, to do one photo, unless you were really, really good at it.
I agree. Especially, like I said, especially with something with 30 or 40 or 50 photos or more involved in it, and then having to go back through and adjust layer mask that way. I agree. It would take a long time.
Well, even if you had 3 photos, whatever pixels you add from one photo, I guess it depends on the stack, how they're stacked.
Yeah.
I think it would be complicated. Okay, let me stop my share.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
And earlier, thank you, Brian.
No, you're welcome, Margie. Okay, Carl, is he still here or is he quit?
No, he's there.
Oh, I see him. I see his name. Carl.
He ran for the hills.
Carl.
Mm-hmm. He chickened out.
All right. While we're waiting for Carl, do you guys have any other questions about this process or anything like that? While we're waiting for Carl to get to his point.
No,
Brian, I'll just make one comment. If for some reason Carl doesn't get back, what he was going to show, I think it's called Helicon Remote, and I think it's for tethered applications where you can tether your camera through the app and have the app kind of give the camera instructions on taking the photos. I've never used it. I'm not familiar with it, but I think that's what he wanted to demonstrate.
Okay. All right. Well, he did bounce off and he's joining back in here. So he must have been having some issues as far as connectivity goes. So we'll see if he's trying to get back in. It just popped up and said admit again. Let me try and see. I'd say he's having some connectivity issues here.
And we could practice this at Station Saturday even. We can do some focus stacking photos.
There you go. There you go. That's a good thing to try,
Yeah, it is.
especially right after we talked about it. Yeah, Carl's still trying to join here. I don't know. He must be having some issues. Marie, Tom, you guys have any questions for us or anything, or any comments about tonight's meeting?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, agreed. This is really interesting. Thank you.
Stacking
Good,
is
good.
actually something that's done in astrophotography, but for different reasons. To increase the detail in photos and the brightness of photos. For example, if you wanted to, if you were struggling from not having the ability to follow an object across the night sky to eliminate star trails, and the longest exposure you could take is 1 minute, you can actually stack those, take 5 1-minute photos and stack those using astrophotography software, and it would be as the same as if you had taken a 5-minute exposure.
Okay.
Because it accumulates the actual photons that are in the buckets, if you will, of the sensor in each of those photos. It just adds them up. So you're getting a brighter pixel, if you will, by doing that. It's an interesting technique.
Okay. Cool. So how many of y'all are going to try focus stacking at this point?
Probably.
I actually went out and
Alright.
bought one of those things that you can put on your tripod so that you can adjust.
A
Oh,
focus
the
rail?
Yeah.
Focusing
Yeah,
rail.
Yeah,
I have one.
slide
Yep.
rail, I guess.
I have one too.
Yep.
We could break it out on Saturday even. We can try it.
Yeah. That's actually
you go.
one piece of gear I don't have.
Oh my God.
I actually don't have one either. I used to borrow one from
Wow.
Kern because he
Oh.
has one. And so I never found a reason to spend the money to buy one because I always had the use of his when I needed it. But it's a neat piece of equipment to have, especially if you like to do macro photography.
Right. And it comes in handy also
yeah.
for working with 3D photos, because you need, if you take one photo and then 2.5 inches difference, that's typically the distance between your eyes. So take one photo, slide it 2.5 inches, take another, and you've got your stereo pair.
Very interesting. Cool. Well, Carl was here for a second. I've seen his picture show up and then he disappeared again. So not sure what's going on. Oh, Beth went to get something. See her carrying a brown leather case. There it is. I knew it was coming.
Oh, is that a stereo realist? I was going to
Yes, it
ask you if you
is.
had come across one of those in your travels.
This was my great grandfather's, I think.
Nice.
No, maybe not. Not sure where I got this one. Actually. Oh, this is to make Viewmaster
Oh, yeah.
things, the round.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I do have a stereo realist around somewhere too. I thought this was it.
What type of film would those take, Beth? What type of film would
I
those
think
use?
just slide film.
Slide film?
Yeah.
Hey,
Somewhere,
Beth,
Hmm?
No, good.
somewhere I think I even have the guide thing for how to cut it and put a Viewmaster thing together, but I've
Okay.
never tried it.
It's pretty neat.
One of the things I noticed, Jim, when you were working with your On1 program, is you ended up with a depth map at one point.
In the Helicon Focus, you're saying?
Yes. Oh, it's in the Helicon. I'm sorry. Yes, in the Helicon Focus. You ended up with a depth map.
That's correct.
That would be actually very useful also in you could actually generate a 3D picture using that depth map.
there's, again, Helicon has a 3D app that goes along with that, yes.
Okay. 3D is one of the things that I've started working a lot more with. I've always been interested in it. I mean, everything I have, my monitor is 3D, my TV is 3D, everything is 3D in my house. But it's really interesting. I mean, there's a variety of ways that you can take 3D using just regular DSLRs and a slide, or you can use existing photos if you're able to generate a depth map from it. And there's a program called Stereo Photo Maker that will take photos and generate depth maps for you, which is kind of cool because then you can edit those depth maps if you don't like the way that it's positioned things. I actually put 2 photos out on Reddit. One was of the Rosette Nebula that I had taken a while back. And I used a feature in one of my astrophotography editing software. It's called Star Tools. It actually has a 3D functionality in it. And it will generate a 3D image from your astrophoto, what it thinks is the relative positioning of it. So I put one of that out there on Reddit. And then I also just tonight put a 3D photo of 2 Canadian geese that I took out at Twin Lakes last week. And I took that with the Fujifilm W3 stereo camera. So you could see the differences or the quality between the 2 different methods.
All right. Hey, I don't want to stop you, but Carl's back.
Okay, I'm done.
You got everything working again, Carl?
I hope so. I don't know for how long.
Go for it.
The Helicon FB2 is pretty much indistinguishable from, where's the camera? There it is. From a normal, what do I want to say, Brian? It's between the lens and the camera.
An extension tube?
Thank you. Although it is electric. Well, where's the camera? I think you can see it in there. Nope.
Does it have glass in it?
There's no glass.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
I don't know how to do this where the camera is. There are
you're doing
connections
fine.
on both the inside and the outside. So
Yeah, so it has pass-through electronics through it.
directly to the lens.
Yeah.
And you download the software from Helicon, and they send you that little bracket plus a piece of wire that fits in your phone on one end and into the Helicon bracket with the other. It's a lot like a little connector on a Nikon. And that's all there is to it, almost. So once you get it set up and downloaded and on the camera, you look at the app on the camera and it will tell you how many, well, it's going to do its own count on the photographs that it takes. What you want to give it is the closest position you want in sharp focus and the most distant part you want in sharp focus. And I've only used this on macro, by the way, and then it produces a series of shots on its own count. And I've processed it with both Helicon software and with Photoshop. I found the Helicon focus is much faster than Photoshop, and I got better results out of that than anything else I tried. So I think I got the pro option too, but I haven't updated for a while, especially since I got the D850. It was a lot more expensive and I'm more willing to play with it. What I was saying about movement is I have about 40 or 50 shots of one of my sister's irises And I must have been sleeping because it was windy outside that day. And I have about 40 or 50 individual photographs of those irises that are never going to be combined with anything. Because, as Brian would show you, they were all of different orientation and exactly the same thing that happened to the bloody ant. But, it's a great little gadget, and it really worked for me before I got further into doing some macro with some other toys. And
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much for that. Anything else? Okay. So that would be a neat thing to go along with the program then. If you don't have a camera with that built into it, that's a way of getting it built into it. So very cool. All right. We're gonna about
Right, they are available for numerous cameras. And when I bought, it was primarily Canon and Nikon, but the Canon has already been tested out through a number of lenses. So that information is all available on the website.
Okay. About how much was that? Do you remember?
I don't even remember where the photographs were I used it on.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're interested in that or the pricing, check out the website. So cool. And I see DL posted a link to the focus rail that he has. So if you're looking for a focus rail, it's on Amazon. Very cool. We got 3 minutes here. I want to share a picture with you guys. And it's inspired by Beth's picture that we were critiquing of the fence. And this is a picture that I have on, I don't know, Flickr. It's my most viewed picture of all time on Flickr, which I don't mean a whole lot to anybody at this point because it's only 1,200 views. But anyhow, I wanted to show it.
Oh, cool.
So, like I said, inspired by Beth. Although I think I probably took this quite a while. Yeah, I took this in 2017. But I found this on an old road in the middle of nowhere, taking a ride with in the woods with my pickup truck. Or actually, this was before I owned my pickup truck. But anyhow, I was watching his fences. I was driving up this old dirt road and just looking for a spot to take a picture of the fence. And I finally found a spot where I could get to the fence because it was on top of a bank. And that was the picture that I got out of it, which I think turned out pretty good. But anyhow, I just wanted to show my fence picture.
I think you actually put that on Reddit at one time, and I thought it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on Reddit, but I think it was on
Flickr?
when we were using Flickr. I think it was posted there.
Okay.
It could be.
Yep.
Could be.
But anyhow, yeah, because this was, like I said, this was on April of 17. So it was a while ago.
Yeah, because what I liked about it, not only the barbed wire has the points to it, and they're sharp, but if you look at the vine going up there,
Yeah.
it also has the points.
Yep.
They
So
look
anyhow,
very sharp.
yeah, I'm not sure I'd grab a hold of them. Either one, the barbed wire or the plant.
No.
All right. Okay. Well, that takes us about to the end of the meeting. If I could have my officers hang out for just a few moments, I want to run something by you guys. And other than that, if no one else has anything, thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed the meeting. Hope you learned something.
Hope to see you at IHOP.
We appreciate all your participation and everything. We'll see you guys at IHOP on Thursday.
And think about doing some tips and tricks. I heard a lot of people talking tonight that we would love to hear some tips or tricks from you. And we have a few
absolutely
to be filled in. There you go, Margie.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
Hey, real quick. Is there anybody willing to do any tips and tricks? Because we still have some months open. And let me just let y'all know that are not familiar with it. It could be anything photography. It could be, excuse me, it could be anything. It could be a video. It could be you showing your pictures that tell a story. It could be just something you're doing in with your camera, a new pieces of equipment, anything to do with photography, anything from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. It doesn't matter. And I like somebody to volunteer for May, June, July, September, October. Anybody, please. It's easy. YouTube.
Yeah, guys.
I don't care.
Yeah, it is a real simple thing. You're not giving a whole talk or anything like that. It's a couple minutes or a video that you like, or
That's it.
like Margie said, you got a favorite book. You want to point it out to us and say,
Yep.
hey, here, I love this book. You guys should check it out, kind of thing. As long as it's photography based, we don't care. And it's what it is it's part of our WPS SWIG meeting, which is that Thursday night meeting for you guys, for you new guys. So if you're not ready to volunteer right now, maybe after you see what it is at our next SWIG meeting, you'll maybe think about volunteering then, because it really is just a simple little, hey, this is how I do this, or this is how I do that, or this is something that I like to use, or something like that. So it's real simple and easy to do.
Yeah, it could even be a software. Brian, you have the next one for March.
Yeah, I'm aware. It's on my list.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm aware.
Yeah, it's easy. It won't take a couple of seconds to come up with something.
Well, I have till the meeting, about 10 minutes till meeting to figure it out. So
Yeah.
we'll be good.
Just like Tom was talking about the astrology and his 3D stuff. That was awesome.
That would have been a great tip.
That would have been a perfect tips and tricks, just like that.
Yes.
That was perfect. So something like that, just quick and easy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. If nothing else, go ahead and thank you very much. Jump off, and my officers hang out. Everyone
Alright.
else, thank you very much. We appreciate all your time, and participation this evening, and I hope you all enjoyed the meeting.
Thanks,
Good
Brian.
night. Learn
Night.
something.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
night.
good night, guys.
Good night.
Okay,
Think
that
that's
looks
it.
like, I'm gonna hit the stop recording here.